Mareep is one of the best additions you can make to your team in Generation 2, so naturally in Pokémon Crystal it's not available in the wild, and barring remakes it's not available before the Elite Four until that hard to pronounce ranch in Black and White 2. Kangastan in the comments section has challenged me to take the sheep around the region to see just how good it is. So without any further delay, here is Pokémon Crystal with just an Ampharos. And as always, we'll start with the rules of the challenge. The timer will start when I walk away from Professor Elm after receiving the starter Pokemon. I may only use the challenge Pokemon in battle. No items in battle except balls to catch HM friends. No evasion increasing TMs such as Double Team, no intentional uses of glitches or exploits, no rare candies until facing red, and the timer may be paused for breaks in recording, but no inputs may be made when the timer is paused. And with all that, let's take a look at our starter. I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Totodile with Mareep, the reason being that Chikorita will resist our electric type attacks. And after spending far longer than I care to admit soft resetting until I found a starter that I was happy with, I found this starter. 21 in HP, he of course starts with Tackle and Growl holding the berry, 10 in attack and defense, 13 in special attack, 11 in special defense and 10 in speed. I'm happy with that Pokemon, so the challenge can begin. And as always, we get the potion from Professor Elm's aid. We'll go into Route 29 and we shall have a look at our first encounter together to see how this run might pan out. I thought I was going to get an encounterless run up to Cherry Grove City, but I did end up banging into a Hoot Hoot, and it takes a few tackles. Of course, Mareep's attack is quite low compared to its special attack. We chat with Mr. Pokemon, we get Professor Elm's call saying a Pokemon's been stolen, and then we bump into the rival just east of Cherry Grove. This is quite a slow fight because Mareep's low attack, combined with Chikorita's bulk and the fact it keeps growling at me, means we are only chipping away very slightly, and we were in danger of fainting at one point, but we did manage to get him into the red and get a critical hit to make sure that we got the victory. So the sheep can progress onwards towards the gym challenge. But first we name the rival triple question mark as always. We get the balls from Professor Elm's aid, and we can go into Violet City Gym. The gym trainers are frankly trivial because we've got an electric type attack, and so is Falconer. He might outspeed with the Pidgeotto, but the Pidgey goes down in a single Thundershock. Pidgeotto comes out, we've levelled up from the Pidgey. It does still outspeed, but a couple of Thundershocks later we knock it out to get our first badge of the game. So in a very quick time of just over 6 minutes we get our first badge, and we can make our way towards Azalea Town. On the way we bump into this trainer with the Wooper, which was a bad decision on my part because I can't Thundershock it, so it's a very slow battle, but we do get enough experience points off it to get to level 15. And Mareep evolves at level 15, so we become a Fluffy. Get a nice little stat buff for that as well, and we can carry on into the Ilex Forest. And today's field move friends are Psyduck, as always, one of the best field move users to use in any generation. And we also have Paris this time. It's always a toss-up between Paris and Oddish, it depends which appears first. Paris can learn Dig, so it's a little bit more useful than Oddish, but it has a much lower encounter rate. So if I find an Oddish, I will just use Escape Ropes instead. In the gym we battle Amy and May. They have a Spinarak and a Ladybird. That Poison Sting didn't poison us for once. And off the Ladybird we get to level 18 and we get our first status move, Thunder Wave. Feels so good to be on the using end of Thunder Wave, especially after all those encounters with Jasmine, with Claire, with Lance, and with other trainers who just like to paralyse, so the shoe is on the other foot for once. We take out Metapod in a couple of hits, Thundershock will do the same on the Kakuna, and then Scyther has the unfortunate position of being a flying type Pokemon, so we can critical hit and knock it out in one. And Bugsy was defeated. We get the badge, the Hive badge, and we take on the rival. This one could be a little tricky because we don't really have anything to deal with the Bayleaf. We can knock out the Ghastly with relative ease and the Zubat will be trivial, but this Bayleaf will resist our electric type attacks. Our attack isn't very high and it's got Reflect, so we've just got to try and paralyse it and hope for the best. Razorleaf's high critical hit ratio does mean that this is a little bit of pot luck, and if we don't get through on the first attempt, we might get luckier on the second attempt. I paralysed the Ghastly to make sure it can't lick us, and it turns out it was a damage roll on the Ghastly all along. I paralysed the Bayleaf straight away to try and maximise the number of turns I can hit without it hitting me, and then we just have to keep our fingers crossed. If we can chip away quicker than he can chip away at us, we will not have any issues on the Zubat and we will win the battle. Bayleaf goes down, we're on 8 HP, but we outspeed the Zubat and we take it out. That means we can move onwards and upwards. We get the cut HM from the cutting dude in the Ilex Forest. While we're here, we also pick up Headbutt to give us a stronger physical attack. And in the underground, we grab the coin case, and we also give Sean a bit of a shear. Sean looks happy. That is one of the better options you can get, but it's not delighted. And if it was delighted, we could pick up return straight away. In the game corner, we pick up our teleporting Abra. We then get the bike really early because I remembered this time. Although with the state of my cycling in this game, I think I need some more lessons. After that, we go into the department store and pick up Thunder Punch and Fire Punch. That's two very good special attacks for this point in the game, and it's going to give us plenty of coverage. So I replace Thunder Shock with Thunder Punch and Growl with Fire Punch. I also use this opportunity to teach Headbutt over Tackle, and then we pick up the Kenya, we chat to the flower shop lady, and we can take on Whitney. I'm not really expecting too many issues with Whitney this time. The Clefairy is a dangerous Pokemon and it goes for Double Slap. We knock it out, get a level up from the Clefairy, and out comes the Miltank. We paralyse it to try and stop its rollout in its tracks. The strategy works, we outspeed and we knock her out in 2. So very easy Whitney fight with the sheep, and that means we can go on and take on the Kimono Girls. Now these aren't optional, unfortunately. It would be really nice if the Kimono Girls were optional because it's about a 3-minute time sink sometimes. But alas, we do need to do the Kimono Girls so we can get Surf off this bloke to explore more around the region. So with HMO3 in our pocket, we can go into the Burnt Tower and take on the rival. Having Fire Punch should make this an awful lot easier. We do get put on the clock by Haunter, who outspeeds us. Magnemite comes out and I foolishly pick Thunder Punch. I'm not quite sure what I was thinking by using Thunder Punch, but we did take it out in 2 and take some curse damage because of the mistake. A little bit more curse damage off the Bayleaf because we didn't knock it out in 1. But we aren't a multiple of 4, and also Zubat's very frail, so we survive with over half HP. And with the rival taken care of, we can go into Ecruteak Gym. And we're going to have to see a medium sprite, unfortunately. She sends out a Haunter, we Fire Punch it and take it down in a couple of hits. And the same story for the second Haunter, but this time we get to level 30. And level 30 is the level that Flurfy evolves into Ampharos. So we now have our fully evolved Pokemon and huge special attack. 115 in special attack is fantastic. So let's see if the buffs we get from evolving into Ampharos make Morty go down quick, sharp and in a hurry. He's got 4 Ghost-type Pokemon, and we outspeed the Ghastly to knock it out in 1, growing to level 31 in the process. We outspeed Haunter, that means we cannot get Cursed, which makes this battle a lot easier. We don't OHKO the Gengar, and that is bad because we are now having our dreams eaten. So we are just screaming wake up at Sean to hope he hears us. We get down into the yellow before we finally wake up in the red, and we critical hit to take out the Gengar. That was dangerous. And the last Haunter goes down in 1. So with 11 HP, we have survived by the skin of our teeth again, but that is enough for us to get through to Olivine City. In Olivine City, we pick up Strength, we teach it to Psyduck, and then we go into the Lighthouse. In the Lighthouse, we tell Jasmine that we want to battle her, but she is preoccupied with Amphi, the sick Ampharos. I offer her a swap, but she says no, she wants to keep her Ampharos. I could have just taken that other one to the Pokemon Center. But no, instead I've got to go all the way over the open sea to Scionwood City to get some secret potion from a man in an unmarked house. While I'm here, I might as well take on Chuck, the gym leader, and we have a type advantage over his ace, so that is another type advantage to Ampharos. Poliwrath goes down in a single hit, and Primeape did the same, so we beat Chuck in a very quick time to get the Storm badge, and out of spite I'm going to do the Rocket section next and take on Price. I get flied from Chuck's wife and go over to Ecruteak City. I surf east, accidentally try and headbutt a tree, and get the rare candy at the Lake of Rage. We also pick up Hidden Power. Hidden Power is, of course, that move with a mystery typing that we won't find out until we try it out. I realise that I never show my process for working out the Hidden Power type, so if that's something you'd like to see me show in a video, let me know in the comments and I'll show you the process that I use, because I generally go for specific Pokemon on specific routes to try and whittle down the types as much as possible. But after defeating the red Gyarados in a single hit, we go to speak to Lance, we do the Rocket segment and get Whirlpool. And honestly, there is no point in showing it because nothing ever happens in the Rocket section. So we'll take on Price, and yet again we have a type advantage over 2 of his Pokemon. Seal goes down in 1. Piloswine comes out, but we've got Fire Punch to deal with the Piloswine, so that goes down in 1. And his final Pokemon this time is a Dugong, which also goes down in 1. So Price was very easy, and we might as well take on Jasmine while we're at it. Fire Punch is already paying for itself because we can use it at Jasmine's gym as well to knock out her pesky Thunder Waving Magnemites. And that just leaves the Steelix. Now Steelix is quite defensive, it goes almost down in 1, she uses a Hyper Potion. We get it down in 1 the second time, so again, another damage range that we rolled low on. And we're level 40 with the Mineral Badge. That means we've got 7 badges and more Team Rocket shenanigans to come up. But before I do the Team Rocket segment, I always like to pick up the rare candy. If I miss Flash, I get it at this opportunity because I'm in the city. I get the rare candy south of Goldenrod. I then go into the department store and pick up the return TM. I did try when I picked up Thunder Punch, but I wasn't happy enough. And then we'll take on the rival. Again, this Rocket segment is just so boring. It's such a slog that I try and cut it out. Unless something happens like a major move or an evolution, I will never show this Rocket segment. Because they are all underleveled, there's nothing interesting, and it's just like 25 battles in a row of the same stuff. Same 3 or 4 Pokemon, the Zubat, the Rattata, the Coughing, the Grimer, the Muk. I just wish that in Generation 2 they had done something to split this segment up and make it more interesting. The rival was trivial because we've got excellent type coverage, and we can move on to Claire in Blackthorn City. We didn't pick up anything interesting in the Ice Path this time, and we cannot OHKO the Dragonair. This is a problem, so Claire again proving to be a bit of an issue, but not for the reasons we normally have. This time it's just because our physical attack is slightly too low. So we're paralysed, which isn't great, and in hindsight I should have used Thunder Wave on each of these Dragonair. We've got 83 HP for the Kingdra, that's down to 49. If we weren't paralysed here, we would have got the win. But we were paralysed, that means Hyper Beam can knock us out, so we'll try again. This time I start with the return on the first Dragonair. It uses Thunder Wave and we're paralysed again, so we're just going to have to deal with paralysis in this battle. It's not the worst because we do have quite high stats, and her Kingdra is part water type, so we can switch to the electric type moves and do over half damage, so it's just a 2-hit knockout. I really want to use an Ice type again just so that I can get rid of those pesky Dragonair very quickly. We're at 41 HP for the Kingdra. It uses Hyper Beam, leaves us on 1, and that means she can't heal and we get the win. That was an excellent stroke of fortune there, but we do get the win and we can move on to Victory Road. At Victory Road we get challenged by our rival for the final time, and again his team is very trivial. He's got so many type weaknesses, he's got so many frail Pokemon, and Game Freak did Sneasel a dirty in Generation 2. It's got paltry special attack, really high physical attack, but Dark and Ice are both special moves. So Sneasel is one of those Pokemon that in Generation 4 came into its own after the physical special split. I just really wish it was runnable in Generation 2 because it's such an awesome design and such an awesome typing. But knocking out all his Pokemon without taking damage means we can go on to the Pokemon League. In the Pokemon League, as always, we start off by healing up our Pokemon with Nurse Joy. We then move over to the PC and we say thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and to Paris. There are 5 field move users this time. We buy our 4 field restores and we get ready to take on the League. Let's take a look at the stats. 181 HP. Our moves are Thunder Punch, Fire Punch, Thunder Wave and Return. We're holding the pink bow from the radio tower. 116 in attack and defense, 159 in special attack, 133 in special defense and 96 in speed. So huge special attack. Let's see if we can make something of it. First one on the chopping block is Will. Now Will has Psychic type Pokemon, but most of his Pokemon have a secondary weakness that we can take advantage of. That being Electric for the Xatu, Fire for the Jinx, Fire for the Executor going down in a single hit. We've got Thunder Punch for the Xatu. That goes down in a single hit and that just leaves Slowbro. And Slowbro goes down in a single Thunder Punch. That is a really good sign that we knocked out the Slowbro in one hit. Koga's next. Gyarados, weak to fire, but some reason I use Thunder Punch. Doesn't matter, it knocks it out. Fortress, very flammable, so we take it out with a Fire Punch. Out comes the Venomoth, and again, very weak to fire. Muck's next. Muck we don't have anything super effective against, so it takes a couple of hits. We hit through the Minimalize, and we are on to the Crobat. And a single hit takes care of Crobat. And that brings us up to Bruno, my nemesis of this run. I'm going to be honest, I got caught up in my head in this run. In this particular fight, I was like, I don't want to get rid of Thunder Wave. I just really want to keep Thunder Wave. So I battled and battled and battled, ostensibly doing the same thing in every battle, expecting a different outcome. And that really was the undoing of this part of the run. I lost a lot of time at Bruno because of my reluctance to use Hidden Power. At this point I'd already figured out that Hidden Power was a water type move, so I don't know why I just didn't teach it to Ampharos in place of Thunder Wave. It took till reset number 12 for me to realise that was the play I should be doing all along. Forget Thunder Wave, we can paralyse with Thunder Punch. So with me working through the stubbornness, Onix goes down in a single hit, and I could have saved myself an awful lot of time, around about 5 or 6 minutes on this battle. Hitmonlee goes down in a couple of hits, and we've got plenty of health for Hitmonchan. A Mach Punch does barely anything, another Mach Punch keeps us in the green. Out comes Machamp, and only a critical hit could knock us out at this point. We do over half damage with Thunder Punch, and another Thunder Punch knocks him out. On to Karen. Karen leads with the Umbreon, we Thunder Punch it and we don't knock it out, that gets us confused. We're confused, we knock out the Umbreon, and out comes the Vileplume. We're confused, we hit ourselves in confusion, I get paralysed, and I just think it's not worth trying to carry on with this battle with Parafusion. We get to the Gengar, we get cursed, and that's the last straw, so I reset, try and get a better outcome from the Umbreon. We get Sand Attacks this time, which isn't great, but it gives us a better chance than being Parafused and Cursed. We get a lucky critical hit on the Vileplume, so we're not going to get Stun Spooled this time. We don't outspeed the Gengar, so we are still on a clock, and we miss our first Thunder Punch. We don't get paralysed from Lick, and that takes us on to the Hound Doom. We don't have anything super effective against the Hound Doom, so it's just going to chip away with a couple of hits on Thunder Punch, and that just leaves Murkrow. We managed to hit through the Sand Attack to knock out her Murkrow, and we've defeated Karen. That's the Elite Four done. That just leaves the champion. Now, as I always say, Lance isn't a Dragon-type trainer, he's a Flying-type trainer with some extra bells and whistles, and we're an Electric-type trainer, so this should go really well. Gyarados goes down in a single hit because of its 4 times weakness to Electric. Out comes the Dragonite. We get a lucky critical hit on Dragonite number 1, second level 47 Dragonite comes out, and it's the exact same story. Another critical hit, we grow to level 57. I decline to learn Thunder because it's only 70% accurate. That leaves Dragonite number 3, we take it to roughly half with our first Thunder Punch. Again with a second Thunder Punch, and a third Thunder Punch knocks it out. Charizard comes after that, and Charizard is trivial because it's very weak to Electric, and the same with the Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl outspeeds, hits us for pathetic damage with a Hyper Beam, and that means we have no time for losers because we are the champions. With a league time of just over an hour and 19 minutes, I am quite disappointed though. If I hadn't have wasted that 6 minutes and 50 odd seconds on Bruno, we could be on record pace at the moment, beating the Ursaring run. But 1 hour, 19 minutes and 28 seconds into the league. Kanto's next. As always, we start off by going to Professor Elm. He's got a couple of goodies for us. We get the SS tickets from Elm, and we also get the Master Ball. The Master Ball is going to be used for our final catch of the game, which is going to be in the Kanto region. We then go and withdraw our Pokemon from the Cherry Grove City Pokemon Center. We say hello to Kenya, Abra, Psyduck, and Paris. They had a nice little rest while Ampharos was taking on the league. We grab the rare candy in Mount Mortar. We also grab the rare candy in the Whirl Islands. And that's everything we need to do in Johto for now, so let's move on to Kanto. So after digging out of the Whirl Islands, we can teleport to Kanto, and we can get our next rare candy. This rare candy comes courtesy of the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club. He gives you the bike voucher in Generation 1, but in Generation 2 instead he gives us a rare candy. And with that we can take on Erica. Erica is a Grass-type gym leader, so we should be at a disadvantage, but we do have Fire Punch in our arsenal. And at this point of the game, it's almost impossible to not be over-leveled if you're doing a solo Pokemon challenge. I am a few levels higher than I would hope to have been at this point in the game, but it does just make Kanto a little bit quicker. So we knock out all 4 of her Pokemon in single hits, and it's time to take on Misty. Misty has the type disadvantage over us because she is a Water-type trainer. The only Pokemon that could be an issue is that pesky Quagsire, and Quagsire comes out as her second Pokemon. I use Hidden Power and take it down into the yellow. It uses Amnesia, which is good for us because it doesn't attack us, and that means we are on to Lapras. Lapras goes down in a single Thunder Punch, and that just leaves her Starmie. Starmie is a very nippy Pokemon, but we outspeed and take it out in one hit to get our second badge of the Kanto region. Sabrina's next, and she leads with a pesky sand-attacking evolution, this time Espeon. We don't knock it out in one hit, and that means our accuracy is lowered for the rest of the battle. Out comes Mr. Mime, and we miss our first hit. That means Mr. Mime manages to get an attack in and uses Psychic to lower our special defense. Alakazam then hits quite hard. We miss a Thunder Punch. We get another hard hit from Psychic, but we do OHKO the Alakazam to take out Sabrina. Surge is next. Surge the electric type gym leader, so we are on a level playing field once more. We use Fire Punch on the Raichu, we get paralysed, which is a little bit annoying, and we knock out the Raichu in 2 hits. Electrode's next, it starts double teaming, and we just cannot get a hit in for love nor money. After it uses 3 or 4 double teams, I think right, enough's enough, let's reset, let's hope not to get paralysed. I stick on the paralysed Cure Berry just in case, and it works out in our favour because Raichu paralyses again, but we get healed up. That means we outspeed the Electrode and OHKO it. Magneton's next on the chopping block, and we have the Fire-type move to deal with the pesky Steel-type. Next Electrode is out, and we don't OHKO, which means it double teams, we miss, and it goes boom, but does very little damage. And that leaves just the Electabuzz. Electabuzz hits the Thunder, but at this point it's a losing game for Surge, and we get our 4th badge of the Kanto region. That means we can move on towards getting our final catch of the game, that being this Snorlax. This Snorlax gives us leftovers, so it is a very handy Pokemon to catch, and it's also the reason we pick up the Master Ball. Because have you tried catching a Snorlax with a Pokeball? It's no fun whatsoever. So we get the Snorlax, we nick its leftovers off it and put them straight onto Sean. Now another strategy I could have done was get the Magnets because it's Sunday in-game. And the Magnet is just south of Ecruteak City, but I thought we should have high enough special attack to deal with it. But you never know, that could have made some of the fights a little bit earlier on in the game a little bit more manageable. On paper, Brock should be one of the harder gyms, but all his ground-type Pokemon are 4 times weak to water, which means with our Hidden Power type, we have struck gold here, because it means we can just knock them out in 1 hit apiece, and then his Rock-Water type Pokemon are weak to our Thunder Punch, so Brock becomes a very trivial gym leader indeed in this run. I'm very happy about that because I was worried about Brock in my pre-routing. I never know what Hidden Power type I'm going to get when I start the run. I just try and soft reset, and I do have a look at the DV calculator on Psypoke to see if I can sort of have an idea and get lucky, and in this instance that's exactly what happened. Water or Grass were my preferred Hidden Power types to give us that special coverage, and Water is going to help out a lot in Blaine's gym. Blaine leads with the Magcargo, and as we know from our past experience, Magcargo is very weak to water. You just need to squirt it with a squirt bottle and it goes down. Magma is next, and Magma also weak to water. Let's see if we outspeed the Rapidash. We do, and we OHKO with a critical hit to get up to level 64 and get our next badge. Badge number 15 belongs to Janine. Janine leads with the Crobat, which we can easily OHKO with a Thunder Punch. We Thunder Punch the Weezing. We then Thunder Punch her next Weezing to take it down in 1. That just leaves her Ariados, which is very weak to fire, and also her Venomoth, which is also weak to fire because they're both bug poison, I do believe. So that's Janine done and dusted. We get the badge from her, and we only have Blue left to go. Blue leads with a Pidgeot, which is brilliant for us because it means we can OHKO with Thunder Punch. Rhydon's next, and proving it's worth its weight in gold, Hidden Power Water knocks out in 1. Alakazam comes out and uses Reflect, which is good for us because we're a special attacker. It tries to recover, but it's a losing game for the Alakazam, and it goes down in a couple of Thunder Punches. Executor's next, and we've got Fire Punch to get the coverage on that Executor. That leaves Arcanine next, and Arcanine is going to be weak to our Hidden Power Water. It's taking a couple of hits, and he will use a full restore because he has a couple in his back pocket. But again, it's a losing game. Even if he uses all the full restores he has, we're just going to knock it out in 2 consecutive turns. He's just wasting our time and our PP. Final Pokemon is Gyarados, 4 times weak to Electric, so blink and you miss it, the Gyarados is gone. We've got all 16 badges of the Johto and Kanto regions together, and that just leaves 1 final challenge. We go to Professor Oak, we show him our badges, he opens up Mount Silver, and that lets us take on Red. Before we get to Red, we get our final rare candy and we go into the cave. And as always, we'll give it a go at our current level, see how we do. As always, he leads with the Pikachu. We don't outspeed, but it uses Charm, and we critical hit, knock it out. Up next is Espeon. Espeon uses Reflect. We're special attacking though, so that doesn't matter. He gets quite big damage with a Psychic. We're still in the green, but we get into the red with another Psychic. We are just about in the yellow for the Snorlax, and I think this is going to be a losing game. A critical hit Body Slam knocks us out, so we'll try again. I use a single rare candy to see if that makes any difference whatsoever. I'm going to be a little bit stingier with my rare candies because I've managed to get some very low level defeats on red, and I just want to see what is the lowest possible level I could take red on at. So we get rid of his Pikachu, and that brings out the Espeon. Espeon uses Reflect, again meaningless for us because we are a special attacker, and Psychic does some major damage. Psychic hits us again, and we're deep into the red, and out comes the Snorlax. And it pans out exactly the same way as the last battle. And it's at this point I remember if I change my clock to a Saturday, I can get a better move from the game corner. I can spend copious amounts of money at the game corner and use the bi-weekly move tutor to get our hands on Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt isn't a TM in this game, it's a move tutor move, and it costs a lot of Poké-Dollars to get. This had better be worth it because I've just spent 80,000 Poké-Dollars on a single move. But Thunderbolt replaces Thunder Punch, and we can go back into Mount Silver and see if that does us any better. So we go all the way up the Walk of Shame to red again, and we'll see how Thunderbolt fares. He leads with Pikachu as always. We're still level 66, so it's going to be a couple of hits on the Pikachu. We don't get him into full restore range, which is excellent, and we're not paralysed for the Espeon. Espeon uses Psychic, we use Thunderbolt, and we get a critical hit and almost knock it out in one. Maybe with a higher roll that would have done better, but again we are on very low HP for the Snorlax. We don't get the paralysis, and Body Slam knocks us out. We don't get much more progress with the rare candies until we get up to a very nice level. We use Fire Punch and return on the Pikachu. We aren't paralysed for the Espeon. The extra levels and a stronger move means that Espeon is now in a reliable two-shot range, although its one Psychic does manage to get a Spadef drop, which is quite annoying. But we're in the green for Snorlax, which is a much better position. However, he uses Amnesia. That means we're going to be rolling for a critical hit because we have no reliable way of knocking out the Snorlax without it going to sleep. But we don't even get to see Snorlax take a nap because Body Slam takes us out. I try again at level 70 and 71, but no progress was made, so let's try again at level 72. I accidentally used Thunderbolt on the Pikachu, and that makes him in full restore range, so he's wasting a bit of time, but a couple of Fire Punches later and Pikachu is history. That brings us on to the Espeon, and with Thunderbolt at level 72 we do a lot of damage and we paralyse, which is brilliant because that means we outspeed and we're on to the Snorlax with full health. The first Thunderbolt takes him to roughly a quarter health. The second one is a critical hit which takes him deep into the red. That means we can outspeed the Sleepy Bear and take it down. We're on to Venusaur, and we have Fire Punch for the Venusaur. First Fire Punch takes it into the yellow. He uses Sunny Day, which boosts our Fire Punch, and we knock out the Venusaur. Charizard's next, and the Sunny Day means Flamethrower deals massive damage, but it's not enough to take us out, and we knock out the Charizard with a single Thunderbolt. Out comes the Blastoise, we outspeed, we knock it out in a single hit to take the victory at 1 hour, 49 minutes and 12 seconds. Really good performance overall by Ampharos. It goes into third position, could have been a little bit higher if we didn't faff about at Bruno, but third is nothing to be sniffed at. Dugong and below drop down a position, and with that we are done. So thank you once again to Kangastan for suggesting the Ampharos. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see, leave it in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. In the meantime, if you did enjoy yourself today, please do leave a cheeky little like. If you've got something to say at all, please leave it in the comments. And if you've really enjoyed yourself, consider subscribing. And thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to everyone who's subscribed in the last few days. It's been amazing. I'll see you all in the next video.